Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
So what is headlining? At the moment, it is the man, Honorable Norbert Mao, bidding for speakership. Would Noop be persuaded to support a man who has fought you forever?
Has he?
The one-woman army, self-declared.
Well, I don't remember which American president once said that a day is a long time in politics.
Is it time to bury the hatchet?
So, well, that would be speculative on my part, to start giving a position on that matter. But I think ultimately, who becomes the speaker will be determined by the strategic interests of Museveni at that time. And if the strategic interest at that time and by Museveni is now, I don't know, I think it is the current speaker who talked about the Trinity. There's the Father, the Son, and the Brother. So, if,
the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a Holy Trinity or not. May not necessarily be holy, but the Trinity. And one of the members of the Trinity has lately been heaping praises on the Honorable Mao. So if that is to be taken as a signal, I think it is too early to call the race.
So you should take the compliment seriously.
That is up to him, but if it is a signal that...
or he's falling for flattery.
I don't know if it is flattery. I don't know the person who is... So I'm not able to give an opinion on whether it is flattery or not. But I think it is too early to determine who becomes the speaker. And I think the current speaker is aware that it is the decision of Mr. Museveni that will determine who becomes the speaker. That's why they rushed to procure the purported resolution, which many people in NRM have been questioning and debating. But I think history has showed us, especially in the recent past, that the institution of parliament, the leadership of the institution of parliament, is largely determined by the choice of Museveni. And I think
in your opinion, what is for or against Mao?
Well, I think what is for him is what the Honorable Semuji mentioned, his stellar performance as a member of parliament.
Does it count?
Ideally, it should, but like I mentioned, that in the current dispensation, the abilities or lack of may not be a big factor in determining who becomes speaker. But as an observer and as a person that has been involved in following the events, I think Parliament would do better with a different speaker who, regardless of where they belong politically, understands that they sit in that chair to steer the House in a non-partisan manner, who will allow debate uncontrolled, but also whose conduct will not bring into disrepute the institution.
For now, do you consider Mao as opposition?
It is not for me to consider him opposition or not.
No.
He says he's opposition.
Where
he's
would you
opposition.
place him? Where would you place him?
It's not my business.
For now?
It is not my business. Well, for now, on account of the secretive cooperation agreement, he's an ally of the NRM.
That gives him an edge.
And he has mentioned, if I listened well, that he was going to support Museveni, to vote for him.
And I did.
Yes, and he's confirming that he did. So, on account of that...
Maybe it's a scratch my back, I scratch yours.
On account of that, I think very many people would find it hard to count him as opposition, because the question would be, opposition to what? Because he's the one who has voted the person, brought him to office. So maybe he's now fully in government, not in opposition.
Honorable Mao, In the meantime, your identity is quite confusing. Are you opposition or NRM?
I belong to the Democratic Party, which is not NRM.
Is it opposition?
I
Or
think,
neither nor?
I think I'll leave that nomenclature to you. But if you are trying to say I agree with 100% of the things that NRM proposes, then obviously you are wrong, because I have the right to agree to disagree with the NRM. But tonight we are debating about Parliament, and I believe that what Parliament needs is institutional power as opposed to personal power. And it is our duty to persuade the country that that is good. Secondly, a speaker should not undermine the stability of the country. I believe in stability. I come from a part of Uganda that knows what war is. Northern Uganda knows what armed conflict can do. We need stability. But most importantly, we now have a president whose age is advanced. Mm-hmm. We are believing that, given the way he talks these days, and the other day he was saying that his campaign was not really a campaign. He was simply mobilizing the country to focus on the things that matter, as opposed to having a beauty contest of this leader is better than this one, this leader. But I believe that he's committed to ensuring the long-term stability. So in his sunset years, we want to see a glorious and beautiful sunset, one which gives hope. But
there is a hint I'm picking. Are you in this for succession? Could this be a precursor to the succession?
What I'm saying is, I don't want it to be about me. Actually, the new MPs can do whatever they want, but eventually they will be judged. And my job is to focus on what matters. The country should be stable. We should make sure we focus on nation building to keep Uganda together. And now, for every setting sun, there's also a rising sun.
I think you're being deliberately ambiguous.
Strategic ambiguity.
No, it is not ambiguous. Mm. In other words, you have heard the president saying that he is preparing the country.
That is about to go to heaven.
Yeah, I think you can choose to listen to what you want to hear, but you can see that there's a thread running through all the things that the president has said. First, he has said he thanks God for giving him the opportunity to preside over this country for long. And there are tangible things he has achieved for this country. And no matter what you think about him personally, whether because you're opposition or what, this is not an easy country to lead. In fact, any country is not easy to lead. So if somebody can lead it for this long, I think it is only wise to study. What have they got right? Definitely, he must have got more things right.
Okay, this is what I pick. Could you be positioning yourself for transition?
Every country must have a transition. That's why I said you have a setting sun, which must not set the way Benjamin Kastana talked about Sudan and Tunisia. That's not the kind of setting sun we want. We want a setting sun which mobilizes our country, particularly the youth, to believe that Uganda is going to be a very rich country on account of the wealth we have. Many of us may not be around even to see the best of that wealth, but we must assure that country that is possible.
Honorable,
so the rising sun must be ready.
Honorable Samuju, Honorable Mao seems to speak with innuendos. Could this now be feeding into what he earlier hinted on, behind the scenes conversations about transition and the network working behind the scenes?
I don't know. I have kept saying this. And each time I say so, I ask the Honorable Akena to forgive me, because I asked him and he told me at the beginning, the President said, we can discuss transition. But each time he said he brought the matter, the President would stray into something else, and it is never discussed. Maybe probably is the reason he wanted to contest the last election. I think the Honorable Mao, the Mao I know, is a very intelligent person, so he knows that that transition is not there, it is ended. Maybe the family will determine when they are there, the Trinity. The Trinity will sit and determine transiting from who to who. That's why they keep fighting. But it's not bad for him to continue desiring. That's natural, that's human. Even knowing that you are speaking to people who are not interested in that conversation, and I want to salute him, you don't abandon it. So you continue banging on their door, guys, there is a transition. And he's done it.
Throw it in their faces.
Being intelligent, he's doing it in the way, very respectful. Because I know maybe that's what they want. Because you must make a choice. Do you go shouting at them, will they listen to you? Or you continue the Mao way that these guys have done very well, but there is a transition. So really the choice is yours.
The sunrise, sunset narrative.
Yeah. But there is no transition with Museveni. I don't think Museveni is different from Paul Biya of Cameroon, even at 94.
You think after the sunset there will be no sunrise?
We pray that there is sunrise. But,
and can we pray for a beautiful sunset?
So what I see, I think it was also a choice by Museveni. You had Mbabazi, when he was a prime minister, he ended up wanting to be a president. When you had Gilbert of Kenya, who was the vice president, he ended up wanting to be a president. So you now deploy people who are not interested in anything apart from what you have given them. You get Arupo to become a vice president. You get Nabanja to be a prime minister. You get Anita Amongo to be a speaker. I don't see Museveni changing. I don't see Museveni changing. Maybe now you can get Namere to be first deputy prime minister. That's a team he wants to assemble. So in that team, Mao has no position. Unfortunately for him, because I remember one time, either it must have been the 9th or the 10th parliament, we sat as opposition and said we must present candidates. We presented in Nandala and Odongoto. NRM presented theirs. I don't know who will present Mao. Because certainly the opposition will not present him if he voted Museveni and he works with Museveni. But the Museveni, I know, cannot trust Mao to be a speaker. Because
the opposition also does not vote for the candidate they have presented, like you.
No, me, I presented myself. I asked them to present the candidate, they refused. And I said, if you have refused, I will present myself. Okay. And they punished me for presenting myself. But there was time we presented the candidates. So that's the challenge he faces.
Oh, it is just one of those adventurous
No, I have told you, and I respect him. You've got to make a choice. Do you go to Museveni shouting, we want transition? Or you go cajoling him like Mao, maybe he will accept. But the Museveni, no, it doesn't matter whether you are shouting, whether you are cajoling him. Museveni is a Biya, is a Mugabe.
So you think he's not persuadable?
It's beyond that. It's beyond that. So he said...
Do we need to read too much into Mao's bid?
I don't know. I am not stopping anyone. You can read either too much.
Yourself, would you be really keen to see where it ends?
I want him to contest, and I hope he will. And I hope really he will. He said he was going to present a committee. I wait to see that committee. When a watcher Mainly the MPs wanted Ben Watcher to become part of the speakership. I remember the Honorable Cecilia Ogwa, Tumwine, Tinyefuza and others even went to meet Museveni in Chisos to persuade him to accept Ben Watcher to be a deputy speaker. That time I think politics worked differently. It's changed a bit. It's more polarized than it was. So if Mao wanted to be a speaker, probably there should be teams, not assembling a cabinet team, I mean a campaign team, but teams going to meet the Trinity. Teams going to meet the Trinity, they meet the sun, they meet...
I thought the decision is
one
made
of
in
the
Parliament.
Noob Trinities is here. So I'll start with talking to one of the Noob Trinity.
You'll be now engaging the wrong person.
Well, I want us again to shift to another topic. What is the fate of your president of the National Unity Platform?
Well, our president continued to live in hiding. There were unfortunate developments at his residence the other day. The soldiers broke in, assaulted his wife, assaulted the domestic workers at home. They have now turned the home into a garrison. They have even erected tents in the compound. There is nobody in the house because the domestic worker they were living with was forced to flee. The security guard is locked in his guard house at night. He doesn't know what happens in the main house. He doesn't know what happens outside. You remember the doors were broken and everything turned upside down in the house. So he continues to be in hiding because there have been continued threats from the Chief of Defense Forces to find and hurt him, and which threats have been followed through with the attack on his wife and the other members of the family. The other day, I think yesterday, one of our leaders in the chairperson of the Election Management Committee, who hails from Kapchorwa, was arrested on suspicion that she knew the whereabouts. She says after they had taken her through some ordeal and established that she didn't know where he was, they set her free, which clearly confirms that he's under pursuit. So we believe that he's alive.
How much paralysis has it brought to the National Unity Platform?
Of course, that together with other factors, like you know that some of our other leaders, the deputy presidents, if you exclude the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi, who is on remand, the others are in communicado detention, having been abducted. So there is fear, and fear as a result of that, and as a result of that fear, people are not doing what they are supposed to do freely, like they should be doing, because the absence of the leader would certainly affect the party, but other people would continue doing some work. But with now everyone living under fear, it has certainly had an impact on the operations of the party.
Honorable Mao, how absurd is the situation in National Unity Platform that their president is in hiding after an election?
I think we go back to the law. I would be interested in knowing whether there are any steps that either his family or his lawyers have taken, because there are clearly measures that people can take.
Missing person.
This is not simply a political problem. It is also a legal problem. The state is not supposed to come and occupy the home of any citizen without explanation.
But the state is hounding a former presidential candidate.
I also believe that if anybody is wanted for any crime, that should be explicit, because the state should not start chasing you for no reason whatsoever. And I do believe that if anybody is looking for the NUP president, they must state why they are looking for him. After all, it's the same state that nominated him. The Electoral Commission gave him a certificate of nomination. His campaign program was approved, and he has a sizable following.
Yeah, but you are aware of the threats that have been
Yes,
served
I'm
on
aware of the threats, but it is also important to tackle it in a holistic manner. That's why I was asking whether there are any measures that have been taken either by his lawyers. I would be interested in really knowing whether anything like that has happened. I saw press conferences that have been held at the NUP headquarters. I've also seen press conferences that have been held by other leaders. Definitely anybody who threatens to carry out extrajudicial killing is out of order. I don't think that is the kind of country that we should be building. It is in our country, it is possible to jail someone legitimately within the law. It is possible to even execute someone. We still have the death penalty within the law. And I think whatever we do, we should be able to explain. If the NUP president has committed any crimes, those crimes should be explicitly stated. Now, the ordeal that his wife went through, according to her own video account, it is important that those who did that should be held accountable. In any case, we must ask ourselves, what will be the meaning of these things 20 years from today, 30 years from today, 50 years from today? These things will be on record. So the sooner we come clean as a government, the better. If someone has offended the law, they have to be confronted, also legally.
We want to end on that. Honorable Semoju, the disappearance or the predicament that Honorable Kyagulanyi is going through.
I have said this, maybe just repeating myself, that everything Dr. Wesley went through, they will go through it. The other day we were going back in history and found newspapers when NRM, I think that time was 3 years old, was arrested. 3-year-old NRM was arrested on his way to Rwanda with an aunt. And they told the aunt who was taking care that he was trafficking the child. But they just told them to go back. So the one who was trafficking NRM was told to take him back. The contesting against Museveni and fiercely contesting against him is a crime, unstated. So the moment you offer yourself, know what will happen. Besigye's brother was picked and arrested for treason. He came back and died from prison. So there will be a price to pay, except if you are joking. But if you are serious about it, Museveni is unforgiving. He thinks it is his birthright to be the president of Uganda, and I sympathize with Honorable Mao, who keeps advocating for a transition. This man thinks it is his birthright to be a president of Uganda. Therefore, disturbing him, you will pay the price. I mean,
Yeah, but does it baffle you that it's no longer headlining, that Bobi Wine has disappeared? And
but we are talking about it. We are talking about it.
it's not receiving as much traction as you would imagine.
It would have received, because you see, he said he was in hiding. That is different from the presidents, his deputies who were kidnapped and kept, but him and we keep getting briefing from senior officials of his party who are saying he's okay. Maybe they talk to him for them to declare that he's okay. But otherwise, they should worry everybody that after a presidential election, the other diversity was in Karamoja, in Ruzira, that this one is in hiding, that we hold the elections, and after the elections, it is chaos. At one time, I had started thinking, because we have spent, the Electoral Commission had proposed about 2.3 trillion shilling in there, 2.5 years to take plan. So you spend little resources that you have, and then after spending, so you achieve nothing. You achieve nothing because Museveni thinks this is ours. That's the mentality even his son has. Why are you disturbing my father? And when he tweeted those photos of Chagulanyi's wife, anyone sensible cannot do that. Anyone sensible cannot do that. That you go and either confiscate CCTV cameras and then you retrieve videos and you begin sharing them. Here, where is decency?
Well, gentlemen, what a pleasure hosting you tonight. Honorable Norbert Mao, you are wearing too many hats at the moment.
Do you want any of them?
Good to have you. Catch you again next Thursday.